Hello and welcome to another episode of Life Stories. As per usual, we're going to try to record two of these mofos at a time, but we're going to make sure that they're spliced apart. The first story is going to be, it's a two-parter because both of the stories are kind of sort of short on my end. Episode 8 will be the time I got into a fight with with geese, which was also my first fight. So yes, this is baby Zax or toddler Zax. And the second story after the first time I got into a fight with geese is going to be the time my friend got a bee in his mouth and he couldn't open it and he was fatally allergic. Today's guest, or I guess commentation section, is brought to you by A1 Officer 9001.
Ah, what a wonderful world we live in right now with the coronavirus. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, you making sure we get that demonetization money, or lack thereof. And of course, we're joined by the one whose accent knows no equal, whose name is annoying, Lord Ingling.
Okay, hello.
Well, that was an interesting response. And of course, we're joined by our salty-ass veteran and old schooler himself from the podcast. In his first debut Life Stories episode, A1 Mr. Telford.
It's good, everybody. How's it going?
Got a new daddy. All right, so let's get into it. And just so we're clear, I'm assuming everyone has their phone set to silent and or vibrate. And if you are a visual imaginer, I'm going to apologize in advance for the thoughts that will be in your head. Kinda, sorta. At this point, everyone should be on push to talk, and I'm switching to voice activity to make this story go easier and to not get a hand cramp. Remember, when it's your turn to tell a story, you should be on voice activity too, as also to not get a hand cramp. Unless you're around a bunch of loud jackasses. You know how that goes. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yep.
I'm good.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna take you guys back in time to in a distant land called All of You Probably Weren't Born Except for Officer. The year was 1993. The date, March 12th. I'm still riding that birthday high. You can do that when you're an only child. I wasn't born on the 12th, I was born on the 9th. Now, one of the things I fucking hated doing, but I got rewarded for being civil about, was picking up my mother from work with my dad. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, why the fuck do you get mad? Do you hate your mom or something? You're only like 3 at the time. Like, no, I do not hate my mother. The problem is that at this point in time in my life, me and my family were living in a different city than my mother worked at. And instead of doing something, I don't know, smart, like having my mother take the train in and out of the city and being picked up at the train station, we were driven there. We drove there directly. So you're basically looking at about close to a 2-hour or 2.5-hour trip total to just to go pick up my mom. Don't hate her, just hate the drive. However, one particular time, it was around spring, and unlike downtown Chicago or Chicago in general, spring is actually spring in the rest of Illinois, and not just a less cold winter with no snow. And sometimes you get snow. So geese were there, and it was commonplace, as many people know. You see some geese, you get their ass some bread. It's just a thing that people do. I have never experienced this before, and my dad decides to just say, Hey boy. Yes, daddy. Go feed them geese. And there was a guy who you could like give a couple dollars to. He would give you bread to go feed the geese.
Oh no.
And you already see where this shit's going. Now here's the fucked up part though. I was making me some homies. I had some animal homies going. So there was a bunch of baby geese, because all the big geese getting fed. I ain't give a shit about them. I see little homies. I'm a little homie at this time. And I was like, hey, let's all be homies. So I just start breaking up the bread and I start making it rain. Right? 3-year-old me is losing his shit. 3-year-old me doesn't even care. He might miss his Power Ranger episode. Oh wait, no, Power Rangers haven't happened this point. He might miss an Animaniacs episode because no one wanted to tell me that they were on reruns because the show was over. So, fucking, what did I do? So I'm having fun. Nothing's wrong. And then even when I ran out of bread, I just sat down and all the little baby geese was just like chilling on and around me. My dad thought it was the coolest shit ever. It's like, sweet, animals like them. Okay, I feel like I've accomplished a lot of shit as a parent. And my mother comes out. I wave at my mom. Then comes the mother geese. She turns around and looks at me. And then there's the daddy geese, or at least I assume it is, because this crazy ass bitch started honking at this male geese, and he just flies away. Like literally, he just flies away. And I asked my dad, hey dad, what sound is it that they're making? Oh, what sound is it that they're making? And then all of a sudden, I start hearing a louder quack. And you can tell I'm young because I don't even know what the fuck a quack is yet. And I see the mother geese coming this way, and she's like all white. And for some reason, I just said, let's see, all white. Wouldn't that be a duck like Huey, Dewey, and Louie? For those who don't remember, Donald Duck has nephews, triplets. Their names are Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I'm not registering this as a threat at all, right? So then all the baby geese start separating and getting away from me. He's like, hey, you on your own, homie. I just came for the bread. And this motherfucker straight pinches me on the elbow. So I stand the fuck up and I'm like, ow, the fuck? And I was like, Dad, what? It bit me. What bit you? A baby duck bit you? You're gonna be fine. So he goes talking to some of my mother's friends and shit. And there's another little kid there that, you know, is just watching this shit. I guess they got car duty with their parents too. They're a little bit older though. And they start walking in between me and walking between all the parents like, hey, I think they're doing that punching thing. Whoever this kid is doesn't know the word for fight. And his parents are like, fighting? Yeah, I think she's trying to fight him. Right? So I'm basically face to face with this duck having a one-on-one Street Fighter type match and shit. The children are all gone at this point. I got both my fists up. Don't know why. I feel like it's a reflex. Yeah, and I'm not wrong. And she just keeps sticking her head out, trying to either thrust and stab me with her fucking bill or trying to pinch me. And every so often, I get like 2 shots in. But the problem is, obviously, I ain't got no damn wingspan. I'm not even sure I'm 2 feet at this point in time. And as soon as I get 2 shots in, motherfucker's gonna stick my ass back. So now I'm angry, I'm crying, but I'm winning at the same time. And then all of a sudden, it just goes like it was about to vomit. And I was like, I'm gonna kick this bitch. And I kicked this psychopathic ass bitch geese. And I know people don't like when you call women bitches, but it's a geese. Shut up. It's not a person. And I don't know if it's trying to eat me or kill me. If someone's trying to eat you or kill you, you get to call them a bitch. And I'm just going at it. Then all of a sudden, all the little baby geese start quacking. And then this little kid straight up dies laughing. Watching this shit, because here I am crying and punching this shit. And the geese just looks like something's wrong with it. Quack, quack, weird ass noises, honk, all that shit. Then my dad turns around and he's like, what is this shit? Now, I know I'm not in trouble when I hear those words, but I don't know how he's going to react, right? So my dad's watching this like, Daddy, I need your bill. I'm trying to win. I start running in a circle to get away from this geese, even though I'm the one winning, just because I feel like I shouldn't be in the situation I'm in. But it doesn't occur to me to run towards the adults. I just run in a fucking circle, right? So then eventually it starts trying to fly. Like, I don't know, dive at me or something. But I stopped, turn around, and this is how I first heard this word. I didn't actually know what the fuck it was until later. And I basically did a shoryuken to the duck or geese, whatever. I punched it mid-flight, and then it just stayed in the air, and then it just went into a tree. I don't think I've ever seen a geese or a duck even go into a tree. And that was the only time I've ever seen it. I've seen geese and duck be around a tree, but not physically on a tree branch. And then it made this weird noise. It took a shit, and all her babies flocked or just ran up towards the tree. I have never seen my dad laugh so hard for so long ever again in his life. Because the first thing that came out my mom's mouth, because she only noticed the end of it when I punched it while I was trying to fly. Did he punch the shit out of a geese, literally? And my dad put it this way. My dad laughed so fucking hard. His light skin, kind of sort of cinnamon in the summer months, was pink and red from oxygen, lack of oxygen, the whole car ride. At some point in time, he actually went hoarse from how much he was laughing, right? Now, that's not a terrible mental image. Why the fuck did he say that earlier? I'm getting to that. So I'm still a little bit huffy in the car. They buy me some ice cream. They notice that I got a couple rips in my coat, and we get out the car. We're at a gas station, and just random people like, hey, little man, what's wrong with you? You know, back when you can do that and not automatically be assumed to be Michael Jackson and R. Kelly and shit. Yeah.
Whoa. Michael Jackson's not a pedo.
I give you that. We don't have technical proof, but Elvis and R. Kelly we do. So anyways, he's like, I got in a fight with a goose. They just start laughing too. I was like, oh, you mean like that one? Now there's a whole nother patch of field, and there's a whole nother geese and duck, right? Because they're completely different. Obviously, they didn't get in they didn't see me in a car and follow my parents and shit. That would be hilarious, but no, that's just unrealistic. And I was like, yeah, like them. I don't want to fuck with them. I didn't say those exact words. I'm like 3. But here's the thing. All of a sudden, Mama Goose starts making a very happy moaning noise. I would love to describe that noise, but I don't think the human vocal cords are capable of it. But just think about hearing a half of a geese's honk, like, huh, and then right when it gets to that part, it just goes, It's like, the fuck? So I look at this lady. She looks at me. I look back over there, and my mom rolls down the window. Hurry up and go get your snack. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Well, again, this is a point. I was one of those children who was able to walk and talk and read and write before he was a full year old. So I won't say my parents were lazy. They weren't, but they gave me a lot of liberties that I didn't realize a lot of other kids didn't get. But it wasn't because they didn't give a shit. It was because they decided they could do and get away with a lot more shit based on my intellect. Like, I didn't know you weren't supposed to, your parents were supposed to read you books before you go to bed or just for randomly when you're a little kid until I was like 6, because my mother was so fascinated, and so was my dad, with the fact that I could read and walk and talk before I was a year old. I had been reading them my bedtime stories when I was like 8 months. Did not learn it was fucked up till years later. Lazy bastards. But anyways, so I go in there, I get my snack, and I get an extra lollipop that I didn't fucking want. I don't know, people give kids free shit, and there was nothing wrong with the lollipop. I know how to inspect my shit at this point. I come back outside, right? And my mom's like, hey, get in the car, get in the car. I was like, okay, I was already gonna get in the car. And my dad, he puts the gas cap on the car, the Volvo, and he's looking over the car, he's like, boy, get in the car. Come on, get in the car. I was like, okay. I'm like, damn, I didn't say I wasn't getting in the car. And I just hear, what the fuck was that? Someone getting choked to death? So I turn around and I look at the geese and the duck, right? Because it's a family over there. Mommy and daddy putting on a show. Now, if you've never seen what a duck's penis or a geese penis look like, it's the best way to describe this. There's a reason you can't see it with the naked eye, and it's because it doesn't function like any of our penises do. It is a truly frightening endeavor, and I would only wish the sight of that on my worst enemies. This is basically how it works. Basically, picture a condom, and then you immediately fill it with whipped cream or shaving cream until it gets to a certain length. A duck's penis works like that. There's basically a very, 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 very small nub, and then, for lack of a better term, genetic material forcefully rushes that small nub, which is meant to expand because it's got a skin that's very elastic right there. And it's easily hidden under the feathers when there's no material in it. And it doesn't stop and harden until it reaches maximum capacity. And when it does it, oftentimes it can be almost, if not the exact length or a little bit more, than the full body length of a duck or a geese. So basically imagine your dick is permanently the size of your fingernail. But until you get horny, and your dick could be basically your entire body height. It looked like a funnel cake. A straightened out funnel cake. There were lumps on the damn thing.
A fond memory from childhood.
Yeah, that's the word I would use. Let's see, geese. Let me type this in. DuckDuckGo. Yes, I realize the irony of the website I'm using. Geese penis.
Look up ducks. I know that they actually have the largest, like, I think, by body length in the world.
It's like basically a fucking corkscrew thing. Like, it's like if someone just took straight up raw ass. There you go, gentlemen. If someone took straight up raw ass fucking.
I'm just not gonna click that, by the way. I don't want to see what a penis of a geese looks like. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not touching that.
So what you're saying is you're all a bunch of punk bitches. Okay, just want to make sure y'all also.
I've seen dead pictures of them like that. I don't want to see it again. I've seen like biological drawings of animals. Ugh.
Yeah, so it's like that. It's almost like a rat tail or fucking
damn it.
Yeah, it's longer than his body. Funnel cake, but straightened out. And they were over there having sex. And my brain was like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but I want to get away from it. So I start running. And, I start running. And I get in the car, and I'm crying a little bit. My dad is like, Jesus fucking Christ. And my mom is like, hey, you don't have any questions, do you? And all I say is, geese. I hate geese. And they both just start fucking laughing again. It's also the primary reason why I hate Geese from King of Fighters. Because he's a piece of shit, he's also an asshole, and he's extremely hard to beat. And in fact, it's actually very common for geese and duck to be territorial, even if they know that they are not exclusive to whatever land they're in. There are cases where geese have picked fights with gorillas. I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. In fact, here's a gif of it.
Yep, she kind of rely on people like freaking out. I've seen a video where I think it's in like maybe north of London where a goose or a swan like attacks a woman, and this guy, and she's like freaking out, and so this guy who sees it just grabs it by the neck and throws it into the water.
Yeah, like they know that they are not exclusive to their territory. They're not going to care. And also,
it's very scary. If you beat the shit out of them, they're weak.
Yeah, it's also it's not a commonly known thing, but geese actually can and do hiss. I didn't even know that until, well, someone explained to me later on. That's what that other sound was. Geese can actually hiss. And there's an example of it. So, yeah, that's story one. Told you it wouldn't take that long. That last one is just the S&K boss geese mixed with an actual goose. So I don't know the correct names for the motherfuckers, but yeah, their penises are very, very scary things. I genuinely feel bad for them.
Why did you have to send that? Why?
Because if I have to suffer, someone else has to suffer. And unfortunately,
Reasonable.
Kara and Nico isn't here to suffer. And I really wanted them to suffer. Actually, no, not Nico. I think Nico's kind of into that type of shit. Not animal porn, but tentacle shit. She's had unrestricted access to Japanese cartoons at a young age, so you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, the other thing is, or the other story is, well, be in my friend's mouth and he might die. Huh, there's a 25th anniversary Chrono Trigger stream. Yeah, we're going to blow through this shit. Okay, so Telford, you and me may have a unique perspective on this because we're not white people. You ever walk around in the suburbs, have permission to be there, there's no gated community, and you're minding your own business, but you just know shit may go down because people have decided you don't belong there?
Yeah, every day of my life.
Okay, so now imagine you make friends with one person and he is obsessed with having you come to family functions, and they're white, and they somehow forget you're not, even though your skin resembles that of something between an ice cream Twix and fucking Nutella. Now,
That's gonna be awkward.
yeah, but not for me. That's the scary part. We'll get talk from you at the end. So, eventually they're having a summer barbecue. Hey, look, I ain't gonna lie. Your boy love ribs. I fucking love ribs. There was a point where me seasoning ribs was the de facto tradition in my house. I'm fucking 12. Can I cook on the grill? Hell no, I can barely even get my full head over the grill. But they let a nigga season that shit for years. So my season game was on point. But this dude told me that his dad knew the perfect way that I could never figure out to make good rib seasoning that was sweet and tangy without using barbecue sauce as a base. I want to know that shit. Also, ribs. I ain't turning down no motherfucking ribs. You ever want to beat my ass and you know you can't fuck with me or fuck me up? Hey, give me some ribs, sharpen the bones, stab my ass while I'm eating. I'm not going to care until I'm done eating. But I digress. He told me he was in, what was it? He was from, damn it, what's that place that's like really, really close to Kentucky and that other state in the South that nobody gives a shit about in Illinois, but it's connected to us? Is it Alabama? No. Anyways, North Illinois, if you guys know your geography, is connected to about 3 different states, but northeast of Illinois is Kentucky's right there. I'm in.
No, that's in the South.
What?
That's in the South. To the north of Illinois is Wisconsin.
No.
Iowa, and then Missouri, and then Kentucky, and then Indiana. And then across the lake is Michigan.
Okay, that's too much detail. But yeah, I meant
It's
to say
everything
south.
in Tennessee.
I meant to say south, not north. This man know his shit. But anyways, yeah, those 2 states on near the southeast of Illinois. I was in Peoria. Peoria, put it this way, I think it's less than a 2-hour drive or an hour drive from Kentucky, West Kentucky, into Illinois. I'm not going into Kentucky, obviously, but Peoria is an area that is known for having a lot of, for lack of a better term, country folk. And I'm in one of the richest neighborhoods in the suburbs of Peoria, right? Peoria, Illinois. I don't know my shit at the time, but I know Caucasian friend, completely and totally delusional to minority-based issues, but is a nice guy. So that means whatever I say to him, unless I beat his ass or yell at him, which would possibly end the friendship, he's going to completely dismiss and trivialize because stupid white person has no concept of ethnic/racial sensitivity or just common sense. It's the early 2000s. This was when police could really still get away with shit because not everybody had a camera on their phone.
Yep.
It's a celly. That's a tool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I know my shit though. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go here. I'm going to have on a hoodie. I'm going to make sure it's so long that you can't see the color of my face from the side, and I'm gonna have my hands in the pocket. And I don't put headphones on, but I have headphones around my neck because I do like listening to music. But this was a far trip for me. Remember, I'm from Chicago proper. So we get down there. I get down there. I was like, hey, I got off the train. Where do I need to go? And he gives me block directions. Because remember, phone GPS still hadn't happened. So all you young bastards who know how to get everywhere, why you lying? We all know you're using your fucking phone GPS because y'all don't remember shit. Half y'all don't even learn phone numbers that ain't your mama or your best friend. So you had to know where you're going because you don't want to get lost. I get 5 blocks away from his house, right? And I just hear, no, stay with me, boy. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, wait a minute, that's coming from the block I need to be on. So I'm just going to jog a little quick because unfortunately, I did have a point in time, I'm not going to lie, where I had a very Jerry Springer World Star before World Star mentality. Oh boy, I want to go see some fucked up shit so I can tell my friends, right? There's a grown ass man. Now I'm how old am I? I am 16 or 17 at the time. Now this isn't Zach's prime muscle gain on point shit like that, but this is, for lack of a better term, fatal if not lethal Zach's at the time. This is when I was mad at everybody in my dojo who was a grown-ass adult because I was instructing them, and I was one of the only child instructors good enough to actually instruct anybody. And this is right before or right when I got my 3rd degree black. Not sure what the degrees even really fucking have to do with anything. They don't even call them degrees in any other country. That's just like a North American term. And I've got my 3rd degree black, and I am the kids and fellow teenagers love me. All the fucking adults hate me, but I deal with the adults more. So for like a whole, I'll say 8 months, I had a problem with authority, but I wasn't loud about it. So a lot of people didn't know it. And I was just fucking angry. I was being stupid. I was looking for a reason to hit somebody. Don't get me wrong. I ain't hit nobody unless they deserved it. But sometimes I knew I could easily get away and I just fucking didn't. I wasn't always what I am right now. So I come around the corner, I see this, and I see that there's a picket fence, and I hear the sound. I just see this head of a grown man, and I come around the corner. There's my friend Billy on the ground, and this dude has his hands around his throat and is shaking him while he's on top of him.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I just snapped, right? So I run around the corner, I fucking mule kick this dude, and I do it properly, unlike everybody else. I got his neck, and I got his solar plexus, aka the upper pectoral area, right? And I'm just like, hey, get up, we gotta go. What's wrong with you? And he opens his mouth a little bit, and his mouth is like pinkish red. It's looking like a, well, for lack of a better term, a beat up vajayjay. His face is, his lower half of his face looking like a beat up vajayjay. He opens his mouth just a little bit. It's like, is there fucking pee in your mouth? I said it just like that. You know, it was like a high pitched thing. My voice was done cracking and shit, but the voice was still there. And I was like, oh shit. So I'm freaking out. Now, I completely forgot about this grown man behind me, right? Now he stands up. He cold cocks my ass in the back of the head, right? He doesn't say anything to me. He's just looking at me angry and like, I ain't got time for you, buddy. So I beat this dude's ass in like a minute and a half. And fucking Billy keeps trying to grab on to me. I was like, it's okay, bro. Calm down. I got you. He ain't gonna hurt you no more. I'm just, and I beat the fuck out of this dude. Like, how are you doing this? Like, cause you suck, cause you suck dick. I don't know what he meant by that. And you know, I break his nose. And then it was like, hey, where's your house? I turn to Billy. Where's his house? Where's your house? And he points to his house. Like, oh, we're in front of your house. So I got him holding on to me. He can't even walk straight. And I beat them to, hey. Words aren't coming out how they should. And his mom opens the door. And I haven't met her before. I was like, there's a bee in his mouth. A fucking bee! And I shouldn't be laughing, but I was at that point, just the way she said it. And his sister comes downstairs, and his mom starts running around in the fucking kitchen. She comes back because I got him on the couch, and she like stabs him with, I think, an EpiPen, or she stabbed him with something you use in this situation. I want to say it's an EpiPen, but I don't know what the chemicals inside of it is. And I fucking remember, oh wait, I got keys. I pull out my keys and I try to jam them in his mouth a little bit and turn them sideways. And I eventually scoop the bee out and shit, right? But the big dude's behind me. He can't stand up straight. We forgot to lock him out the fucking house. And he's holding his nose because it's fucking broke. That wasn't hyperbole. I broke this motherfucker's nose. Like, oh, I see you want to go again? You gonna break into my homie's house? It's like, she looked at me like, this is my husband. What happened to your nose? It's like, and I just sit there, froze with a dumbass look on my face. I don't even blink for like a hot minute, right? Now remember, Billy's sister, fuck, what's her name? Well, for the purposes of this, her name is Tina. Tina looks at me, looks at him. His wife goes to check on his nose, like, oh my God, what the fuck did you do? Did you leave the varnish out again? Now, small side note, varnish is a special chemical used in wood treatment. If a human smells it even twice, you could black out or just straight up fucking die, right? So apparently at some point in time, he whiffed it and fucked up his nose. So I was like, oh, I didn't break it. It was already broke. Oh no, it's actually broke this time. I was like, oh shit, I actually did broke. So I'm just sitting there froze. Billy is blacked out and they already called the ambulance and I'm just frozen. I'm not blinking. And his Tina is looking at me, looking at him, looking at me, looking at him. And she just starts laughing her ass off. I was like, ah, Zach's beat the fuck out you, Dad. I was like, I just couldn't say shit. I literally just stood there with a smile on my face because I have no idea how things are going to go. So then she looks at him. He won't look at his wife in the face. And she looks at me. And I just said, good evening. And she looks back at him. And she just did what Tina did. Oh my God, did you get your ass beat?
Oh my God, bitch.
Did you get your ass beat? Oh, baby, let me get you some ice. Oh, we'll see if we can have the ambulance readjusted because we are not going to the hospital for this shit. And Tina is dying of laughter, right? So I just sit on the couch next to Billy. I was like, hey, Billy, my battery died, man. Give me your phone. I need to get out of here before your dad do something stupid. I don't know what's about to happen. And he just like, I'm not mad at you, bro. I was like, I ain't worried about you being mad. Which I don't even know why I'm scared at this point. I have confirmed I can beat this man's ass. He's got 50 pounds on me. It's mostly fat though. And he was 3 inches taller than me. It's mostly fat though. But here's where it got awkward. Well, more awkward. So a month later, I came over because obviously I can't stay for the barbecue because I don't know what's going to happen to me if other family members find out, oh, so you beat his ass in this neighborhood, right? There were other people from across the street and shit coming over to see what the fuck happened, blah, blah, blah. And I fucking legit called them back like a week later and said, hey, listen, oh, hey, Zach, like, how you been, bro? I ain't heard from you in a while. I was like, well, you sound surprisingly upbeat. Oh, by the way, we didn't have another barbecue, but we bought more meat than we really needed from the meat freeze. So we've been eating barbecue like for days and days, man. Hey, you wanna me to drop by with some stuff? He was like, you can come all the way to the city on a train? Hell nah. My mom works in the city. And, you know, me and her can stop by. I was like, fuck, free whips. Hey, come to the back door. I ain't sharing this shit with my parents. Right? So, he shows up. And his mom gets out the car. She gives me a hug. You know, thank you for saving my baby. Blah, 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 blah. Billy gets out the car. We do dabs. Traditional teenage boy shit at this point in time. And Daddy gets out the back seat. And I immediately freeze and then smile and then also don't look at him and try to change the subject matter and compliment everybody else in this motherfucker. Just not saying shit. And his mom just looks at me like, honey, it's okay. I'm just going to go through the sequence of events real quick. You came around the corner. You saw him on top of my baby. Didn't know that he was trying to make sure he didn't swallow the bug and trying to get the bug out of his mouth, which I'm not sure why he thought violently shaking you while the bug is in there agitating him was a good idea. Harold. And hey, you ended up saving my baby, so thank you. And I was like, oh, these are thank you ribs. Yeah, and Billy's like, hey, bro, anytime you need me, I got you. I was like, oh, I appreciate that. But in my head, I'm thinking, motherfucker, you're in Peoria. You are a bare minimum public transportation, fucking 4 hours away. But the sentiment is appreciated. I always appreciate the sentiment. And I just looked at his dad. I was like, good morning, mister. Hey, what the fuck is your last name? Oh, don't worry about that. And his mom just goes, oh, don't worry about that shit. Just call him Harry. He is anyway. I was like, I feel like I shouldn't laugh, but I really want to. I know it's his wife too. I was like, I want to laugh, but I feel like I shouldn't given the situation. So he just looks at me and I'm like, hey, Harry. And I stick my hand out to shake. He looks at me, doesn't say shit. And right before I pull my hand back, he grabs it and reluctantly shakes it. And then his wife was like, oh, wait, be careful. Hey, Sax, make sure you don't break his arms. It's like, that is I don't know if I'm laughing at your jokes or your fucking laugh. That is disturbing. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? So I'll look at Billy and he's like, oh, yeah, they do that. Well, they don't really do that. She does that to him a lot. A lot. It's like, so we get to talking and whatnot. And fucking, I thought my parents were going to be home. And they weren't. So I said, you know what? Hey, let's just come in and we can talk about the sauces and shit and whatnot. Because she wanted to know what the big deal was about my sauce and shit. And what I was trying to do with it. And I told her I want to try to make a sweet and tangy sauce for barbecue without a barbecue sauce base. I was like, oh, that's not too hard. It's like, why does everyone say that? And we got to talking and whatnot. And the ribs got cooked. I ate some. Billy ate some. And his wife fucking chastised him and made a joke or pun every chance she got. I don't think to this day I have ever looked that man in the face since I beat the fuck out of him. I don't even think he's really still mad at me. He just never likes and still doesn't like his wife bringing it up at random to random people and around me whenever I show up. I don't care if you sucking my dick. If you an asshole, I ain't fucking you. I'm sorry. I'll take the divorce. Oh my God, babe, you're so good. Too bad your dick isn't. Like, I wish some motherfucker would say that shit to me. Carolyn would say some shit like that to me. Anyways, so that's how I learned to make barbecue ribs with a sweet and tangy non-barbecue sauce base. The end.
Well then.
Any questions?
Did you make it with the blood from his nose?
Oh, hell no! Oh, that is so fucked up. Oh, man. See, this is exactly how I felt when his wife made jokes about him. I'm laughing, but I feel bad about it. Oh, you wrong for that. So wrong. All right, so I'm gonna clip this. Thank you guys for showing up in this episode. I'm gonna clip this and we're gonna go into part 2 real quick.